Hey guys, this is Nate from Archery Country. Really exciting day for me today. Only a couple days really in the shop where I get super excited. Number one being new bow release day when the companies come out with those new bows every year. Second day is the day we get those into the shop. Some days it's that same day. Some bows actually we get in a couple days before they're released to the public, kind of get to play around with them on the hush hush backside. And then day number 3 is the day that my personal bow shows up. And today we're gonna go through, I'm gonna build up my new bow. This is a Bowtech SR350. I'm really excited about this bow. Kind of fits all those categories I was looking for this year. In my bow, I was looking for something that's a little bit taller axle to axle. I like that 31 to 33. Usually a little bit faster bow. I want something that's got a little more of an aggressive cam without being super hard on the shoulder. And the new cam on the SR350 this year, they rounded it off a little bit different than the Solution last year, but honestly just a super smooth draw with a good amount of speed behind it. So I'm excited to see what it flings my arrows at. And then the other thing I do take into consideration on my bows is how much vibration. Definitely not like the most dead in the hand bow, but definitely not a lot in there either. Super comfortable to shoot. And the demo models, I'm super excited to get this set up this year. So let's jump into the accessories here. I got them over on the bench and I'll let you know what I'm running on this guy this year. And then we'll get them thrown on the bow and kind of go from there. All right, so first thing we're gonna do with this bow build is we're gonna look through the accessories that I'm gonna be running on my SR350 this year. I'm not changing it up anything from last year. I had a Bowtech Solution last year, very similar bow, so I'm gonna run all the same accessories. They've worked well for me in previous years, so I'm hoping that they'll carry that same success through to this next year. First thing I like to look at is the release. Not a portion that goes onto the bow, but really a very staple piece in how consistent you're gonna shoot. I run a thumb button. This is a True-Ball Abyss Flex. It is brass, so it's a little heavier in the hand. I just like that a little bit heavier feel when I'm shooting. Don't know what it is about it, just feels really, really comfortable. Moving on down the line here, probably the most important portion to me other than the bow is that rest that goes on there. If you're gonna spend the money on a high-end bow, make sure you're putting a decent rest on it. I think that really improves the quality and the shootability of that bow. So for me, I've been running this Fuse Ultra Rest for probably 3-4 years now. Really like the design. This is a cable driven, ties into that downward cable. So when you pull back, that cable pulls down, lifts up on that blade, and then when you shoot, the cable pops and drops it down. Really nice tight containment area. That arrow's really not gonna move around. If you're doing any spot and stocking out west, that arrow's just nice and tightly contained. Moving on down the line from there is my sight. I've been running the same sight now again, 3-4 years, haven't really changed anything up. This is a Black Gold Ascent Verdict sight. This one does not have any of the micro adjust. They do make fancier versions that have them. Less moving parts to me, a little bit nicer and less to worry about. So this is a 3-pin. I got 20, 30, 40. It goes green, red, yellow, and those are all just that standard .019 fiber size. They do make the smaller fibers out there for you guys that don't want that bottom pin covering up as much of your target. For me, my eyes just don't pick up those tiny pins so well. The 019s, even at 80, 90, 100 yards, to me don't cover up too much of that target, so I've been really happy with that. Went with a white ring on here. Low light situations definitely picks up a little bit better for my eyes than the standard green. I played around with orange as well, but white just really picked up for my eyes. And then on the back side here, I do have a 4-inch wing truss dovetail. I just run that to cut the weight down a little bit. It does also allow me to play with that position in and out on each bow, depending on how stable the bow feels for me, whether I want to run that sight in a little bit more if I shake or out a little more if I feel really stable, just to kind of control that. Going on the side of that sight is my tight spot quiver. This is an older rendition, still a really good option for guys that want a quiver that's lightweight, easy to take off, but you can leave on and it doesn't add a ton of side weight to the bow. The bow's not going to want to lean over at full draw. It's just going to be really super solid, super steady for you. So has the ability to adjust for if you're shooting the really micro diameter arrows or a little bit bigger arrow. You can adjust with the claws on here to adjust the tightness for how hard or how easy it is to get those arrows out of there. From there, jumping over to my stabilizers. I run the same stabilizers front and back. I am a big proponent of having both a front stabilizer and a back stabilizer. I'm not a super steady guy when I'm aiming, so having that extra little bit of weight, especially off that back side, does help hold on target a little better for me. For the stabilizers, I do run the 365, their micro DBS lineup of stabilizers. These have been really good. They came out a couple years ago. A little bit thinner bars on these on the original DBS series. And then it's a nice lightweight carbon fiber, pretty darn stiff stabilizer, so you're not gonna feel a lot of flex and vibration on the shot. With that lighter bar, I'm able to run my weight out a little bit farther. The farther out that weight is, guys, the center of gravity is lower on the bow, making that bow be a little more stable. On here, I do have 4 ounces of weight, and then this is a 15-inch bar. I do like to run a little bit longer bars on my bows. I kind of set them up for a hybrid rig, both hunting and 3D and indoor target. I don't get into the super long stuff indoor. I just run these. That way I'm shooting the same thing year round. It just feels consistent every time I pick up that bow. I know some guys think 15's long. To me, it's just about right. The arrow's still, to me, when I'm spotting stock, and that arrow's still sticking out farther than what the stabilizer is, so the extra added length doesn't really seem to bother me. For a back bar, running a 10-inch, same model again. This one I do have 6 ounces on the back, like a little more weight on the back. Kind of counteracts that side weight, especially if I do shoot with the quiver on. I can kick this in and out with the back bar bracket to balance that bow out a little bit more. From there, we'll move on to the quick disconnects for my bow. Off the front, just running a 365, 10 degree down, quick disconnect. I really like the 10 degree down angle on there. Gives the bow kind of a cool look, but also a little more practicality. Lowers that center of gravity down a little bit more, making it a little more stable. And then for the back bar, again, running the 365, this is just kind of their standard back bar bracket. I can move this in and out. I can flip it around, move it up and down if I want. Typically, I'm just playing with that in and out adjustment on there, and it seems to balance out my bow pretty darn well. So that is it for the accessories. I did snag a couple portions off of my old Bowtech solution. I did snag the old orbit dampeners off of there. I'll show you on the bow here once we get it back in the vise that they did change the cutouts this year on the SR350, so it actually makes it possible to run an extra couple of orbit dampeners on there with my back bar on. And all this is really gonna do is just absorb a little more vibration out of there, maybe make it just a touch quieter. So I'm gonna get the bow back in the vise behind me here, and we'll start getting the accessories mounted onto the bow. Okay guys, so bow is back in the vise here. We're gonna start mounting everything on here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw those 2 extra orbit dampeners I was talking about earlier onto the bow. On the new SR350, if you kind of look up in the pocket here, it's more recessed than their previous bows were. So on their previous bows, the mounting option for the orbits were actually on the side up towards the top, and it made them stick out to the side a little bit more. And with my back bar bracket previously, I wasn't able to run that orbit on that side. I had to like put it on the other side or move it somewhere else on the bow. So I'm actually able to leave the 2 original stock ones on here this year, and I'm gonna add these extra 2. So I'm just gonna quick bolt these on here. All right. Next accessory I'm gonna grab is I am going to grab my sight, the 2 screws here. So again, I'm doing that black hole with that dovetail. For ease of mounting, I'm actually just gonna slide the sight out of here and put the bracket on. The other important thing when you're mounting these brackets, you can do this yourself, is to make sure that the screw holes on the side that are tapped are going towards the back. That way you can mount your quiver and you don't have to do the work twice, basically. So I'm gonna get this guy mounted on here. I'm gonna grab my sight, then I'm actually gonna run it on the second in dimple. So you have 5 different marks, depending on where you wanna run it. I'm gonna go on the second one in from the back side here. I'm gonna try just setting this bow up with a little bit longer sight picture to start out. That might change here as I shoot through league season just to see how steady the bow really shoots for me. So that guy's locked on. While I'm at it, I'm gonna add the bracket for my quiver. And then I'm gonna grab my rest and get that going on here. Again, this is that Fuse Ultra Rest, really good quality. So I am going to mount my front stabilizer first on here. The 10 degree dome bracket, I do gotta grab a little bigger Allen wrench here for this guy. All right, that's pretty darn straight, so that should work for us there. So I'm gonna spin the bolt back around to the back side here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install that back bar bracket. I'm gonna be installing that on the left side of my bow as I'm a righty. We got that on. Last thing really would just be to actually put the stabilizers in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that 10-inch bar on the back here, and then we got the big 15-inch bar out the front. And there we kind of have the main portion of the bow. From here, we're gonna move it out of here. We're gonna get it into the press. I'm gonna get soft knots installed for my D-loop to go around my arrow. And then from there, we'll get the rest tied into this downward cable. And then we'll start checking cam time and kind of doing the whole tune-up process on here. So let's move it over to the press. All right, guys, so we got the bow in the press here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and install a D-loop on here. With my D-loop, I am gonna put soft knots on the inside of it. Really, the main reason for that being is if I were to be on a hunt or at a shoot somewhere and my D-loop were to fray or break really bad, that I can go back in, tie a loop right back around those soft knots, and it's gonna be right on. I have had a loop break on me at a shoot. It is not fun trying to get your bow redialed in the midst of that. So soft knot should allow me just to put that loop back around there and be right back on. All right, so got my loop on here. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to time the rest for the bow. So I'm just gonna pull this all the way back, nice and slow. There, that release activated. There, my bow hit its let off. So that's about the right timing. I might tighten that up just a touch. I'm gonna play with it, I'm gonna shoot it a little bit. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna throw a peep sight in here, and I'm also gonna throw a kisser button on this bow. I've been shooting a kisser for quite a while now. All right, so there we got everything on the bow. We got ref sight, all that installed on the bow. Got a D-loop, kisser button, and a peep sight. The next thing I'm gonna do with this bow is Bowtechs do have the option to be shot in their comfort setting, or they do have what they call their performance setting. So I think I'm gonna run this bow in performance. What that does is it's gonna give me a little more speed, a little bit less let off, not a ton. It just makes me be a little more committed to my shot with that less let off. I have to hold against that back wall. It tends to make me shoot a little bit better. And then really out of this bow, I wanna see what I can get for speed. So from here, I'm gonna probably throw the bow on the counter here, get that flipped over to performance mode, and then we'll throw this guy in the draw board and see how the cams are timed out. Okay, so got everything on the bow, got D-loop, kisser button, peep sight, all that in there. Got this bow switched over to that performance setting. So the next thing is gonna be to check the cam timing. So bows usually come pretty close out of the box, but it's not always perfect. So I'm gonna throw it in the draw board here and check and see and make sure that my top cam and my bottom cam are both rolling over and stopping at the same time. So right there, that bottom's touching and the top is paper thin away. So I don't think it's gonna get much better than that on a binary cam system like that. So next step from here is pull it out of the draw board, set up the paper tuner, and let a couple rip through there and see if we can get this thing to shoot a bullet hole yet tonight. Okay, so next step here, after making sure the cams and everything are in time, is actually to see how close we got everything by eyeballing it here. So as you can see, not a terrible tear out of there, just a slight left tear. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and break out that Allen key again. All right, so we had that left tear through paper, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the Deadlock Cam System. This is a really sweet system if you're not familiar with the Bowtechs. You don't need a press. I don't have to go back to the press to eliminate that. I don't have to move my rest. My rest is right where I want it to be, down the middle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the lock on this guy, I'm gonna break that loose, and I'm gonna turn my cam, or this Allen wrench, so that it pushes that my cam to the left. We're going towards that tear. So I'm just gonna go a little bit on the top, relock it. And then I also actually like to do mine on the bottom. I like to make just small, minute adjustments. That way my cams are pretty much even in line. So I'm just gonna do the same thing, break the lock loose, push that cam to the left just a touch, relock it. I'm gonna grab my arrow here, and we'll see what we get for another shot, see if we can get a bullet hole out of it here. All right, see what we get, see if that makes an adjustment big enough. All right, so we didn't move it a ton and we didn't get a big response out of that. So we're gonna move this quite a bit, see if it makes an adjustment for us. Shot number 3, see if we can make this thing tune here. Let's go number 3. Bow does feel really good here though. Fair amount of holding weight, but I don't mind that. That's what we're looking for through paper. That's really darn close. Here goes shot number 4. Just slight tweaks at this point. Getting kind of fussy even. That looks really good from here. Let's walk up and check that out. Yeah, I mean, that's a super clean tear, guys. I'm not gonna fight that at this point. The last thing we're gonna do with this guy is do a little bit of speed test on it, make sure we're getting some good speed, and then probably just rip a few arrows down range. Get that peep and that kisser set a little bit better. They feel really close for me. And that'll basically be it for this bow build. So let's grab the chronograph, we'll get that set up, and let's see what we're getting for speeds out of this thing. All right, guys, so one of the last things we're gonna do with this bow is send it through the chronograph. So again, I'm running that RIP TKO with a little bit lighter insert on here. I like my bows to be a little bit faster for that 3D shooting. Still been a really good arrow. I've had complete passers on every deer I've shot with it so far. With the new 4-fletch on here, these guys are weighing in at 405. Bow is scaling, I think, like 71, 72 pounds. We're at that 29-inch draw on performance mode. So we're gonna rip 3 shots through the chronograph. We're gonna get that new speed on here. I do need a new tape on here for that black gold system as well, so that'll help out with that. So let's see what we get for speeds out of this bow. Again, 29-inch draw, about 72 pounds, 405 grain arrow on performance mode. Bow is rated to 350. Not gonna see those numbers out of this draw length in this arrow. 310 on the first shot. Pretty consistent, 310. Let's see what we get for a third shot here. All right, guys, so we're just gonna call that 310. We got 2 of them at 310, 1 at 309. Very, very impressed with that. That is an arrow that is moving pretty good. So last thing we're gonna do is just get a speed tape on here and then probably mess around with my kisser and my peep and take a few shots down range. That's what I wanted to hear right there. All right guys, that wraps up my 2022 bow build. The Bowtech SR350. Super excited to shoot this bow. Honestly, it did better than I expected. I've had bows in the past hit like that 300 feet per second mark, and that's kind of the top line for me with that lightweight arrow. For this bow to be hitting 310, really impressive to me. I did not think that was possible. So I'm excited to get into league season here, get back into shooting shape a little bit after just hunting for the fall, didn't shoot a ton. So get some arrows rep through it that way. Do some 3D shoots with it. I think this thing's gonna be a killer out on the 3D course. If you're looking to get any bow set up, guys, we're a dealer for Bowtech, Matthews, Waite, just about anybody. If you want it, we can get it in the shop. So whether you have a new bow that you want to get set up or just an old bow that needs a good tune-up, bring it in, we'll get you taken care of. We'll treat every bow like it's our own. We'll go through and do all the fine details like we would on our own. So swinging in the shops, we got 3 locations: Brainerd, Minnesota, Waite Park, Minnesota, and then Rogers, Minnesota. So swing on in, we'll get you taken care of. I want to give a shout out to the camera guy here today, Adam. He's usually one of the guys in the shop. He stepped in to help with the video today. I'm usually the guy behind the camera, so this is definitely a little bit different for me to jump out in front, show you guys what I do. You will see me in the shops here in the summertime, wintertime. I'm usually kind of out doing more video stuff for the shop now. So let us know down in the comments what you liked about the video, what you want to see in future videos, and let us know what bow you're super excited to try out, or maybe you got that one already on order this year, so let us know. Stay tuned to our channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We're gonna be posting a lot more bow build videos and just product reviews and other things archery related. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next video.